right, so I knew I was in trouble when I was dating Tawra, and we were sitting in a McDonald's, and she went and asked for a cup of water, and I thought, oh, she wants a cup of water. So then she walked over to the window and dumped it on a plant. And that was kind of the beginning. And actually at that time, she was trying to start up a dried floral business. She was selling potpourri and wreaths, and had kind of rented a space in a consignment store that they were putting in Estes Park, Colorado.
Because that's where we lived at the time. Well, that's where I lived at the time, was Estes Park. And yeah, I've always been a big flower person. And I told Mike that when we first met, but he didn't realize how big of a flower person I was. Did you?
No,
Sorry.
But I got a pretty good idea with the McDonald's flower thing.
So that was how we started. So then after that, we moved to Texas, and I had my patio filled with container plants because we had an apartment and I couldn't really garden. So I had that all filled with plants and was getting all the clearance plants. That was when I first really started doing clearance plants.
A tiny little 40 square foot little front patio at the apartment was just completely covered.
Completely covered, vines growing up and everything and all around. So when we moved to Idaho, that was when my gardening really took off. We had our first house that we had bought. It was a $27,000, 800 square foot little house in Nezperce, Idaho that had 400 people. And we were really excited. We had about a quarter acre there too. And we did all kinds of stuff. So Mike went down to the dumpster one day and he came back and he's like, "You're not gonna believe what they have in the dumpster." I'm like, "What?" So he went, and there was this whole pile of bricks sitting next to the dumpster that someone had dumped from their yard.
Oh, they had demolished an old house.
So was that what it was? Okay.
They were old and kind of weathered looking bricks.
They were cool, and they would go for a pretty penny now. But we started hauling those bricks, and we used them for all of our paths to line all of our gardens. Mike hauled and hauled and hauled.
Wait, we need to back up slightly. We had actually found the dumpster stuff by accident when we were throwing something away one day. They had 4 dumpsters on the outside of town where it was a farm town and people just dumped things there. And one day I was at the dumpster and I said, well, there's a whole bag of perlite that's not opened, which is that foamy water holding stuff that you can buy for a lot of money at the store, and it was totally unopened. And then we started discovering other things, and our yard was notorious with the previous owner and the town for being completely full of dandelions all the time. And so we came in and we used weed killer. And
what a concept!
We eliminated all the dandelions and we planted grass, and the grass was going really nice, but one area continued to have more weeds and things come up, and we said, man, with all these weeds, God must have meant this to be a garden.
So we put a garden there.
So we put a garden there.
Yeah.
It was a big circle garden, and when we got those bricks, we ended up lining the entire outside with the bricks, and then we lined the paths with the bricks, and then put wood chip paths kind of in a cross shape. And did we have a bird bath in the middle?
Yeah, and I put my bird bath in the middle. And to get the wood chips, Mike was working 100 miles from home at that point. And so he was driving back and forth every day, 100 miles. And on his way, he would notice that along the road, the truckers had dumped wood chips because their load was too heavy before they moved from Washington to Idaho. So they had to dump wood chips. Well, there was this
because they were going to have to pay tax on the extra load.
Yeah,
so they would clean out the truck completely.
Yeah, so they would be dumping, and every day after work, he would stop and fill up the car with wood chips. And
if you ever see something like that, I actually kept wondering whose wood chips are those, and there was a little farmhouse across the street. So I went and asked, hey, do you mind if I take these in there? And they said, oh no, I'd be glad to have you take them because they're dumping them on my property. I don't have permission. I just use my tractor and shove them into the field. And so he was glad to see them go. So just asking.
And we
really
do
helps.
ask when we say we do this stuff. The majority of the time, unless we know that it's not a problem, we will ask. So like we asked the builders when we were building our house if we could get in the dumpsters to get the sod and the wood, and they said, yeah, please do. It saves us some money. So we always ask, or if it's just laying on the side of the road, we'll just pick it up if we know it's not somebody's. But yeah, so
we found a lot of things in the dumpster when we lived there, and we really had no money in those days.
Yeah.
And it's funny because some of the townspeople would come and say, "You guys are getting stuff out of the dumpster?" Well, it's not like we're in the food bags unloading disgusting rotting food or something. This was, wood and books and bricks, and so we found things like an antique oil lamp and a rocking chair that was brand new, but they threw it away because 2 of the screws were missing from the box, and all kinds of things like that. And ironically, we filled up our shed with a lot of it, and the same people that were saying, "You guys dig out of the dumpster," would buy it from us at garage sales later. So that was kind of amusing.
It was pretty funny.
But we found
that same rocking chair we used for 2 kids for 2 years, and then we sold it for $40. So we got a good deal out of that one.
Yeah. Well, and we found a lot of other things, pots and. There was an old stove that somebody had left next to the dumpster. Well, our stove broke down, or our oven broke down, and I got to thinking, I bet I could. One of the heating elements didn't work, and there was another one, and I thought, I bet I could make that work in this, and so I put it in, and it was about 10 degrees off, but it worked great, and we knew just have it 10 degrees low.
We saved ourselves like $40 for a new element, and all I had to do was buy an oven thermometer for $2 and put it in there, and it worked just great for the rest of the time we were there.
Yeah, so mostly that was for gardening stuff, but we did find other things, and a lot of times we would think, what can we do with this that would be useful and save us a lot? Particularly, we would build shelves and accessory furniture for work areas and stuff like that.
So one of the big ways we save is we just recycle a lot. I mean, we're not big into recycling per se.
We're not big into taking all of our stuff to a recycling center.
Yeah, we don't, save all our milk jugs and everything unless we need them for something. But we do recycle a lot, and we prefer to. How would you say? Practical recyclers. We're not obsessive, but we have street side.
Yeah, we have street side recycling, and we put things in there, but we're not obsessive about it. But we do save a lot of things and reuse them.
And we've saved thousands of dollars just by dumpster diving stuff that we could use around the house, and just asking people if they're getting rid of things. That's how we save a lot. So that's one of our tips: is dumpster dive. It saves you a lot of money. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe, like, share, and comment below.